the Prime Minister has given Business Today the only interview that he has done ever on the G20, only to our publication. And while we started with the G20, we had someone on the stage come up and say, well, stop talking about the G20, talk about the G3. Sure. And his G3 is the US, China, and India. So the first proposition on the path to becoming a global economic superpower, is the G3 a valid concept to you as the former diplomat and the person who understands this best on the panel?
Well, Siddharth, thank you so much, and warm greetings to my fellow panelists. It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Look, I will talk about the G2, and that's the United States and India. I'm a retired...
a round of applause for that.
I'm a retired American diplomat. I've put a lot of years into trying to build up U.S.-India relations, working with many, many, many thousands of people, well-wishers in both countries. And I would respectfully submit, and you may agree or disagree, but I think after the state visit and that wonderful, very forward-leaning, ambitious 58-point joint statement, I would posit to you that U.S.-India relations are as good today as I certainly have ever seen in my entire life, and I feel really, really good about that. So you may agree or disagree, but that's where the focus has to be. Thank you so much. The focus for our effort has to be on building U.S.-India relations. Ours are the two biggest democracies. We have a very robust agenda in the initiative on critical and emerging technologies. We have the Indus-X agenda as well. And so business work between the United States and India to try to implement these goals. And really, the ambition in that joint statement is about the future world that we want to build between the United States and India, not only for our citizens, but frankly for all of humanity. I think we share the same values, we have the same vision, we operate on the same software. So if you look at things like artificial intelligence, quantum computing, defense, cybersecurity, it is clear it's a G2 world, and that's the United States and India.
Gautam, as someone who has spent a lot of time, and you were telling us off stage that you spent time writing 3 books, including a book about India, the economy in 2030. The question I'm taking forward from what the ambassador said, and I think it's quite obvious what he said. Why should we be talking about the G3? China really isn't a friend, so we should only be focused on the G2. Take that thought forward, Gautam.
I think we should continue to talk about G3 because despite the fact that China has now metamorphosed into a rogue nation and is creating trouble for every country across the world without any exception whatsoever, countries are finding it very difficult to decouple from it. New words, new jargon is coming out, de-risked instead of decoupled, etc., etc. I think all these are face saves for the West, who is unable to take a hard call on decoupling from China, which is, to my mind, inevitable. Now, whether we de-risk or decouple, the fact that everybody is now averse to China is a fact, but it is equally a fact that China is here for the long term. It has got its supply chains embedded everywhere. How do we get out of this is the question that has been bothering me and I think many governments, including ours. And my answer is the following, and I'm open to debating and questioning. We have survived in the last 50 years 3 oil shocks, 1 global economic crisis, actually it's a North Atlantic crisis, but let us call it a global international economic crisis. There was an Asian crisis before that. All the countries all over the world have survived this. We have lived through these painful times. We have survived the pandemic.
And the 2008 meltdown also.
Yeah, that's the crisis I was talking about. And we have survived the COVID crisis. At the same time, a lot of thinkers keep saying, and leaders, that we are living in a world of black swans. Disruption is the new stability, so to speak. If that is the case, what is preventing countries across the world to take one big hit at one big time and move on and just decouple, because this is a rogue nation. It has weaponized everything from trade, education, people. It has even weaponized its own citizens through 5 laws, which has made every citizen a spy.
Right.
Now, if we take that one big bullet and take it once and for all together, I think that's when G2 will arise. Until then, G3 will remain.